Welcome back. Having finished the magnificent prologue of John's Gospel, we now enter the main narrative. The story begins not with Jesus, but with the testimony of John the Baptist. A delegation of priests and Levites is sent from Jerusalem by the Jews, a term the author John uses to refer to the religious leaders, and they have one pressing question for the baptizer in the wilderness. Who are you? The first thing the author wants us to know is what John the Baptist confessed. Verse 20 says, He confessed and did not deny, but confessed, I am not the Christ. He is emphatically stating, I am not the Messiah. Christ is simply the Greek word for the Hebrew Mashiach or Messiah, which means the anointed one. John makes his identity clear by first stating who he is not. The delegation presses on. Are you Elijah? He said, I am not. Now this might seem like a strange question, since Elijah lived 850 years earlier. But the Old Testament gives two reasons for their question. First, Elijah never died a physical death. He was taken up to the Lord. Second, the prophet Malachi promised Elijah would return. Malachi 4 verse 5 reads, Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the great and awesome day of the Lord comes. Jesus himself would later say of John, If you are willing to accept it, he is Elijah who is to come. This is an example of the law of double reference in prophecy. John the Baptist came in the spirit and power of Elijah, partially fulfilling the prophecy, but a greater fulfillment may still be to come. So they ask a third question, Are you the prophet? Again he answers, No. This refers to a prophecy from Moses. Deuteronomy 18:15. The Lord your God will raise up for you a prophet like me from among you. The Jews thought this would be another person appearing before the Messiah. In reality, Moses was referring to the Messiah himself. Frustrated, the delegation demands, Who are you? We need to give an answer to those who sent us. John finally says who he is, quoting the prophet Isaiah. Isaiah 40 verse 3. A voice cries, In the wilderness prepare the way of the Lord. Make straight in the desert a highway for our God. John says, I am the voice of one crying out in the wilderness. Make straight the way of the Lord. He saw his entire ministry as this preparatory work. Still not satisfied, the Pharisees ask, If you're not the Christ, or Elijah, or the prophet, then what gives you the right to baptize? They were fixated on authority. John's answer is brilliant. He says, I baptize with water, and then immediately points away from himself. He says there is one standing among them they don't even know, and the strap of whose sandal I'm not worthy to untie. He's saying, Why are you focused on me? I'm not the big deal. Something infinitely bigger is happening here. This exchange reveals John the Baptist's profound humility. He knew exactly who he was not, and he knew exactly who he was, a signpost, a voice pointing to someone far greater. He refused to take any glory for himself, instead directing all the attention of these religious leaders toward the one who was truly important. This was his testimony about himself. But the next day, he would give this testimony about Jesus. And in that testimony, he utters one of the most important phrases in all of Scripture. And we will look at that in our next study.